Hi everyone. Today we present you with our weekly insight on structuring elements in Revit, which is a part of detailing elements. Capricorn Technology Private Limited is now a part of Arkins Group, serving widely in adoption of computer-aided design solutions and its integrated workflows. Myself, Anurag Pamnani, the solution specialist for architecture at Capricorn Technologies. In this insight, we will be covering first the modifying elements graphical representation so that we can clearly define elements. Secondly, we will be looking at structuring elements on the basis of required data. Third, we will be getting into the data to get it into a table and examine the values based upon the parameter value. Let us just move on to the live demo now.
So here I am onto user interface of my software, and we are going to look at adding the additional data to elements and making them representational also at the same time for indicating things that with a logic and with clear sort of data. So let's see this with a wall element. I will just type in WA for wall command, WA enter, and I will just start drawing randomly. You can see it's a part of wall and it can be seen clearly with this sort of edge. So firstly, we are going to look at how we are going to make it more representable in terms of clear wall indications. So I'm just going to click on the wall and go on to the edit type. Over here, you can see the entire properties, which is of 200 generic wall, and the structure of a wall is over here. So it sees the core boundaries over here. Structure is at the center, which is of a thickness 0.2, and the material imparted is concrete. So we can add, if I just click on this three icon, I can select any other materials like brickwork or something else if I need. I can create a new sort of material from here and I can choose that. And for here, I'm not going to do that. But over here, you can see on the foreground, we can see this sort of elevation with the view. And with the cut pattern, we can see this sort of hatch. Just click on this cut pattern hatch and I need a wall hatch over here. I can click on brickwork and add this. In terms, if I need a background color as well to make it more presentable, I can go on to the background, can choose the solid fill color and say okay, and I can choose a color from here, say orange. Okay, and just apply it on the wall and press it okay. So apply and okay. So now you can see a background is there and we had an hatch of a brickwork which is clearly indicatable. And if I just move on to 3D or views of it, so I can just go on to it, and over here onto the shaded portion, you can see the hatch pattern is brick hatch pattern, which was a surface alignment hatch as usual. So this is the part of as per the representation is concerned. Now let us add some more values to the wall element. So I would just pick on the element, and if I need certain calculation on schedules on the basis of thermal insulation or adding the data to it, I will again go back to my structure portion. Here is 0.2. So after the core boundary on the, I need to enter one more layer and I can pick this down. Okay, so this becomes my finish layer, say finish. So I have this as and I can say and assign a material to it. On the basis of material, it would generally pick up the calculation of your, I would say, the thermal properties or something like that. It will take its own calculation. I can choose insulation for a while and say okay. So this is the insulation, or either I can choose plaster. This is plaster, and I will say apply. So my finished layer is plaster, and I can add one more layer onto it as a structure, and I can say this is also my finished layer. Impart material on the basis like plaster. Say okay. I'm going to add one more layer with respect to certain insulation properties. Just insert it, and I can bring it down and change it here to thermal insulation layer on the wall. Category you can select from the material like insulation, which we have selected earlier. Just for a while, I can say this air filtration barrier for an example. Let's just take this, and let us also mention it on the basis, like on the meters, it would be somewhere around this 0.05, and let's take this as 0.24 somewhere. Okay, and say okay. So now eventually you can see the thickness is 0.45, which is not okay. Actually, I should have this as 0.024 and say okay. Now you can see the width is 0.23 almost, which is okay to me, and I will say apply. So over here you can see the application has been applied, and if I need to just create a schedule out of it to see whether my wall schedule is okay or not. So you can see under the wall schedule which I have created previously, the thermal resistance is already mentioned with its volume and thickness is basic 200 mm. Now the part is, how does this resistance comes over here? So I would just take you back onto the ground floor plan. I will just pick up the wall itself here, go on to the edit type properties, and just check in the structure or edit it. And now over here you can see a particular, for example, infiltration area, okay, for the thermal properties. I'll just select this. I will move on to the thermal. So here you can see already certain elements and parameters have been defined on their particular units. So you can edit those elements automatically. We will receive a different sort of data over here. So let's check this out once again. I'm just closing it for a while. I'll cancel it, and let me just see what happens if I just added the thickness of a wall. So here you can see my thermal thickness is 0.5735, and let me just go back onto my ground floor plan. I will select my wall and go on to the edit type, and now let me raise certain thickness of insulation, which is 0.24, and let's just uh, take it as 0.35, I guess. Yeah, 0.035. Say okay. So now the thickness of wall has been increased with a thickness of thermal air has also been increased to it. So say apply and say okay. So let's just check our schedule table again, whether its thermal insulation has been improved or not, or does it change? Yeah, definitely it has been changed with 0.7586. So these values initially come with those thicknesses of wall what we provide, and eventually under the material section we do have those parameters and we can edit them accordingly. So
Hope you guys had an insightful session. We shall be presenting with other insights on upcoming videos. Do subscribe to our channel for all the updates. Do reach out to us for any query or suggestion. See you in the next week. Thanks and take care.